What's up, everyone? It's yours truly, Mr. O.K. Fabe here, and I've got with me one sexy bear who actually kind of looks like the Winter Soldier. I got with me Canadian
So
Basement.
transforming into me.
What?
I mean,
What's up, Basement?
no, I'm ready. I'm willing, and I'm disabled mentally.
I think like that should be. I feel like that should be my bumper sticker for my car, but anyway, we're here we're here to talk the latest Marvel project coming right after, off of the heels of WandaVision. We're here talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. First and foremost, Basement, have you caught up in WandaVision yet?
I have not, and I'm wondering, do you think, because from what I recall, Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to be released first.
I thought so too.
Um,
I think that's what I heard originally. Was this was supposed to be
so
the first one?
do you think there's going to be anything important or so important from WandaVision that I'm going to need to know for Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Not from what I've seen. From a lot of the notes and stuff I've heard about, or the notes I've taken, and the well, spoilers. We're recording this before the finale airs, so as far as we know, as far as I can tell, no, I don't think you need to, unless something crazy happens in the finale that ties it in. But we'll talk about that when we get to more speculation and stuff. But no, I don't believe so. I think you're in the clear. But I'm really looking forward to this. I'm excited for this. I've been doing WandaVision reviews over on my channel. We're going to be bringing some of those Marvel reviews over here to the Horny Goat channel. And I'm looking forward to chit-chatting with Basement about what we know going into Falcon and Winter Soldier. So this will be a huge breakdown of everything we know going into this 6-part mini-series, which is going to be an hour long, 6 hours. Holy crap. Covering Falcon and Winter Soldier. So, Basement, are you looking forward to this series?
I mean, I am. I didn't know they were each an hour long. In all honesty, this is probably one of the series I'm looking forward to the most
It
because I think it's going to be the one most similar to what the MCU has provided on like the Avengers level.
Right.
And, like, I mean, it's going to be probably the easiest gateway for somebody looking for something similar to the old movies.
No, that's true. I mean, it's funny when they announced the 3 series, Loki, this, and WandaVision, this was the one I was looking forward to the most because I'm a big Captain America fan, and I was very curious, with Endgame just being like, well, the Avengers are pretty much gone now. You have to figure like what happens with all these, like, I don't want to say side characters, but that's basically what we're doing. Is we're looking at now like not even like the core Avenger group anymore. We're looking at all these like little side characters as far as what their roles fit into the MCU and to future projects and stuff. So that's why I was saying, like, I don't think, again, not to spoil much, something could happen. As far as I know right now, as we're recording this, there is no need to see. There's no direct tie into WandaVision, but there is a lot of other seeds that could be planted for this, for other things in the future, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And the other thing I want to mention too was, the way WandaVision is kind of going, it looks like it's only going to be the one season. Kevin Feige said that, the president of Marvel said there might be a chance that, there's some shows that they're going to announce for Disney Plus that they already have. There's like, good God, like how many freaking shows are there? There's like 20 of them they're coming out with Marvel. What's that? Is that a rogue? Is that the guy playing Galaga from Avengers 1? Let's give his own Disney Plus show. That there might be some shows that have only one season, some that might have multiple. Do you think this could be one that they could do like multiple seasons of?
I actually prefer I would prefer they stick to single one-off seasons for almost everything they do. I don't think they need multiple seasons. I think maybe you could take Winter Soldier and put him in something else, or Falcon and put him in something else.
Mm.
But I don't know if I want to see an actual maybe another season. But I don't know if I want to see like a Falcon and Winter Soldier 8 seasons long because I don't think the
Yeah,
material is there to do that, and they could be used in other things. I think this gives them that fleshes out like the side characters, like you said, which is needed. Honestly, it was needed before the movies, but we'll
right.
take what we can get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like that's where I'd stand, and I like the idea of it being 6 episodes. And with that length, it could get another season, but I can't say anything until we see what it actually gives us.
Right. So now, let's get into. I mean, Feige basically said that every series is going to be about 6 hours worth of content. That's why WandaVision's been about, about that time frame if you take the 9 episodes into consideration. But I think this is probably. I think you're right. I think that like the single seasons are very beneficial as far as their format. But I think that if on paper, out of all the ones that are coming out so far, this is the one I think you could do a couple of them in terms of multiple seasons because there's so much crap going on in Marvel right now as far as different stories. But let's talk about the actual characters themselves. So, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I keep playing the Odd Couple theme song in my head every time I keep thinking about like how the show's going to come about and what we've seen from the trailers, like dun 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 dun.
Show, basically.
That's what I got from the trailers. I mean, there's been 2 trailers, a teaser spot, but like, what do you think about like going into it? Like just from like not going into specifics, but just like the general theme, the presence of it. How do you like? You said you're looking forward to it, obviously, but like
I'm
what?
looking forward to it. I mean, you look at the 2 characters they have. You have Falcon, who's potentially taking up the helm of fucking Cap,
Yep.
and Bucky. I think what they're gonna do. I don't know if I want to jump ahead to that, but you have got 2 characters. One a bit more straight laced. One a bit. They're both kind of opposite ends of the spectrum, but similar, where they're kind of stern.
Right.
But the trailer was like relatively comedic, so I have a feeling they're gonna butt heads throughout the whole thing, and I actually think this is gonna be how they carry on Captain America. I don't think either 1 or 2 will be Captain America or the replacement.
Mm-hmm.
I think they both will be, like, if you know what I mean, like be a team.
No, I mean, there's a lot of speculation, and you know, if you guys haven't, and spoilers ish, even though their trailers have been public for like months, we are going to kind of give you guys like predictions. So if this is possible spoiler warning, we're going off of a lot of the lores of the comics too in terms of what might be happening. But yeah, so I mean, I went back and I rewatched Winter Soldier, Civil War, and specifically that scene in Endgame. So kind of like absorbing the most of Falcon and Winter Soldier-esque spirit that I possibly could into my bloodstream to kind of get an idea of their characters. And it's a unique situation because they both have a common friend, and now that common friend is gone. They have no, you know, Falcon is more grounded in what's going on in the real world, obviously. But man, my heart breaks for Bucky because he's just all sorts of messed up now. So I think it's going to be interesting to see like the dynamic. I mean, we kind of saw it in the trailer of them like, what's going on inside that metal head? You don't want to know. Oh, I see him spinning. Oh, they're on fire. I hate you.
The trailer played pretty heavily into comedy, but it at least between the 2, the duo, like when they're sitting down looking freaking blinking contest against each other, and
I love that
the thing. So you know, I mean, they do play for comedy between the 2, but then they have they showed fucking Helmut Zemo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they
Yep.
showed him. At least they didn't show his face, but I'm assuming that's who he is. And I'm hoping they give that guy a lot more to go with because he was interesting in the Winter Soldier movie. And he had I guess the storyline behind why he was doing what he was doing was it was pretty enthralling to me. He was one of the better villains that MCU. They do shitty villains, but I
Yeah.
mean, he was one of the ones that I could see more fleshed out, and I like that they addition of him to this one.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting. Captain America is one of the more interesting how do I say this the right way? The more interesting interpretations they've done from comic into movie because they kind of like washed away Red Skull pretty quickly. And then they went from that to Winter Soldier, which a lot of people I still think is one of the best movies they've done, period, let alone one of the best Captain movies. And then Civil War, even though Zemo was kind of like the puppet master, it was them fighting each other. So it was a very interesting like adaptation, and so there's still a wide range of Captain America villains for them to like introduce and like sneak their way in. I think Zemo is the perfect fit for this one. For those of you who don't know, obviously, spoilers. I don't want to say spoilers for Civil War's been out for what, like 5 years, 6 years, but people get triggered for spoilers. But Zemo, I think, is the perfect one because his motivation in Civil War was, you know, the superheroes basically killed his family. The Avengers there, they swooped in to save the day. They destroyed everything, and his family was destroyed. And they flew home and got to fly home, and he didn't have anything left. So now superheroes are the most abundant and apparent after Endgame because, Jesus, look how many superheroes there were in Endgame. And so it really motivates him. I want to know how he escapes, but I also am glad to see that from the last trailer that we saw that he's bringing back the purple mask. So he's finally going to be synced up to the comics. But we also have that group of like renegade people that we saw in the teaser trailer. You saw that, right? With the people with the mask.
Yeah, like it seemed like a militia of people that he's got under his control. I don't, are I forget the actual wording, but I'm pretty sure they're looking to hunt down superheroes.
Yeah, there's
Was
some.
that what they said? Like I'm assuming it's been like a couple days since I saw the trailer.
Yeah, it's a couple of speculations. Some people they might believe. I believe I'm trying to remember the name. I had it written down and my thing's frozen. Go figure. Great notes. Is I believe they're the freedom fighters or something like that, or flag fighters or something like that, where they're like a group of renegade like soldiers or whatnot fighting against like tyranny in the United States. Sometimes in the comics they would also excuse me, line up and fight against superheroes specifically. So that makes the total sense. And there is a clip, if you look closely enough, that Zemo seems to be leading that group, which of course makes the total sense in the world. There's also that teaser spot that we saw where like, is it Zemo shooting, or like what you see like Winter Soldier holding his metal arm and the bullets flying right in front of Zemo? So it's going to be interesting to dive more into his psyche and see what exactly his purpose is. But there's also a chance, and I didn't realize this until I was doing some more deeper cuts into it, but there's also a possibility it could be another one. It could be a group called Ultimatum, and this is the biggest fucking acronym I've ever seen in my life.
I heard something about that, but no, yeah, continue because I saw it.
No, I just found this like this week. I didn't even know about it, but it's called Ultimatum. Biggest fucking acronym I've ever heard in my life. The underground, liberated, totally integrated mobile army to unite mankind. So they're the one that, yeah, right. Try that. Yeah, we need shorter business cards. So in the comics,
that is fucking huge.
Yeah, right. Jesus Christ. In the comics, they're a terrorist group founded by Captain Foil Flag Smasher, and their founder is dedicated to elimination of all nationalism and national pride around the globe. And of course, Cap conceded that Flag Smasher might kind of have a point early in their rivalry, but Smasher was extremely fanatical about anti-nationalism and of course fought Captain America. Now that's in the comics. So I mean, that and Flag Smash coming together, Flag Smasher was the name of the group, fits perfectly. But there's also a possibility of, remember we saw the girl at the very beginning, like the one that they really put a lot of focus on in one of the trailers, that put the mask on.
Oh yeah, the one that had the red mask.
Yes. So
okay.
I was like, that's interesting. Why would they show us that one person? So I did some digging, and there's some, again, theories and speculation that could be Sin, who is, get ready for this, the daughter of Red Skull.
I looked up like about a week ago. I looked up some of the theories that might have been anticipated for this coming out, and that was one that I skimmed over. But like, holy shit! I mean, that'd be perfect to like. This is what I'm hoping this series does.
Yeah.
I hope it plants the seeds for a bunch of a bit more fleshed out villains that can move into some of the other MCU properties that are coming to Disney Plus. That would be fucking interesting, and especially since, I mean, come on, Red Skull and Captain America, since both are technically gone out. Red Skull's on a planet fucking jacking off, but his daughter being on Earth against basically the second coming of Captain America, or his children, or I don't know what the fuck you want to call them, predecessors.
Right. Which that's the other thing too is you were speculating a little bit about what you think that the whole plot and premise of. I mean, we obviously have the villains kind of set up, even if some of them might be off a little bit. What do you think, like, with WandaVision, I don't want to spoil too much because I want you to see it too, but WandaVision, you can kind of see where they're going with certain things, and like you said, they're like, you can, I mean, God's sakes, the amount of Easter eggs in WandaVision is still blowing my mind.
Seems like a show basically built for that because of the premise in general. But
right. But I mean, I feel like we're going to get some of that too in this show, but it's going to be more grounded in more reality because it's more like a military, it's more grounded in like military-esque, almost like a spy comedy buddy, cop buddy drama. But what do you think would be the, you said fleshing out some villains. What do you think could be like the bigger end game, no pun intended, for Falcon and Winter? I want to keep saying Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know why I want to keep saying that, but it's bugging the hell out of me that I keep fucking saying it every time I try to talk about this. But do you think, do you think there's a bigger? I mean, because Feige obviously has. They said like Marvel plans like 7 years in advance. Like Jesus Christ. What do you think could be some things we might see in this series?
I don't know. That's the thing. I really don't know where they're going to go with these two characters, just because a lot of the properties that they're planning for the future are separate or have been separate from interacting with any of these because some of them are new. That being said, I mean, it does seem like I feel like this specific. I mean, I don't want to speculate too hard, but I feel like this specific storyline with these two and with the history of Captain America, and I might be going a bit ahead of us or
Screw
where
it.
we
Let's go it. Let's go
where
it. Balls to the
so
wall.
I know that there's a character in here that I know enough about him to know that he's like a super soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably one of, I don't know if he's gonna be a villain or not, but I'm pretty he's supposed to be like the, because you see in the trailer a guy running onto the field dressed as Captain America.
Yep, I had that ready
And
to
I'm
go too. Yep.
pretty sure he is like the corporate replacement for Captain America, since these two are
Yes.
probably gonna be fucking Black Ops. To be honest, like I
Probably.
mean, they're not going to be working directly with the government, I don't think. So, as far as it goes, if he's the replacement for Captain America, then they obviously, I mean, and he's a super soldier, then you might have this slowly plant the seeds for the X-Men universe that's supposed to join MCU.
Hmm.
Especially since like Captain America and timeline wise, if you look at like Logan, I mean, he could be considered a super soldier too. Timeline wise, they might have crossed paths because Logan was in like every fucking world war known to
It's
mankind. So
true. I mean, there was a rumor going around too that Chris Evans has been again rumor, so take it for what it is, that Chris Evans is coming back to play Cap again in two very small, like not like a series, but like a couple small moments. And rumor was is that one of them is that you would see Captain fighting along Logan in World War II.
yeah, see, I mean that's the stuff like I'd love to see them plan. I wouldn't love them to go crazy with this fucking shit, but like put a couple seeds in there so that people can speculate,
Hmm.
and then the hype starts to build. And this is a good way to integrate a property that they just bought basically. That is huge, and it's probably going to be the future. Maybe not this phase, but the next phase for MCU.
Yep.
Um, it's a good time to do it now. You have the framework, you have the movies, but yes, obviously, but you have Disney Plus, which is even better to build storylines. The movie should be the payoff to storylines built on Disney Plus for the
Agreed.
most part, in my
Yeah.
mind.
Now it's interesting because going back to that about the whole season thing. So like I said, the direction that they're going with WandaVision right now seems, I could be wrong. The finale could completely flip everything upside down, but they said that WandaVision ties directly into Spider-Man: No Way Home, which I still on that title. And
I don't know why they keep going with the fucking home. Like
there's so many
it's
other
so
options though for like
gimmicky. It
better.
doesn't even need to happen. Like I think they committed in the second one. They're like, well, I guess this is it forever.
Listen, if it was
This
if
is
it
all
was
we can
Dis
do.
if it was Disney, I would have done Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey just as a goof, but um, but
I know.
and then watch out for those quills. WandaVision ties into that and into Doctor Strange, but I feel like this series, again, depending on how it goes, could tie into movies and then go again and do another season depending on how, because I feel like with a lot of the shows and stuff, and then we're talking Marvel in general too. Phase 4 is going to be very interesting because you just had your biggest blow off, the biggest one you could do at this time. So now it's a Marvel rebuilding phase. They're establishing either, they're reestablishing or fleshing out side characters to make them bigger, or they're introducing new ones. And so I think that you have WandaVision's obviously looking into if it's tying into Doctor Strange, we're looking into the magical, mystical world of things. Maybe even to the Loki one to some extent, which I can't wait. Loki looks great. This
Yeah, I
one,
think Loki
yep,
and the Spider-Man universe, and Doctor Strange are all gonna like branch. They're gonna branch off into something somewhat different. I think they're gonna try to keep like part of the MCU grounded in reality. Um, and I mean, I think that's what we're gonna probably see with Falcon and Winter Soldier a bit
yeah,
more. And then they're gonna have the more weirder side where WandaVision and all those kind of belong. Obviously, they're gonna cross paths constantly, but it'll be interesting to see exactly how they work it all out. It's like you said, it's a rebuilding stage, and this is the perfect way to do it with the fucking fact that everybody's watching TV.
mm-hmm,
I mean, for the most part, I think television shows are more popular than cinema. To an extent, at least when people talk, like if I've ever remember like any phenomenon like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, that's all people were talking about. Movies, and that lasts for years. Where movies, I mean, they come and go, and sometimes the speculation is there for a year leading up and a year afterwards. But with something like this, and you really want to insert other properties into it, this is the perfect place to do it.
That's a good point. Like that's actually a very good point you make, because a movie can have like a couple of moments here and there, but like series, you can do it so many times. Like, I mean, Breaking Bad has what, like 2 or 3 like iconic moments. Game of Thrones, same thing. That, like, you're right, it kind of reverberates and has more lasting power. You're absolutely right on that. But to go back real quick, we're all over the place, but screw it. The fake captain, as I call it. So if you saw obviously the trailer, you saw that like Falcon and Winter Soldier were playing with Cap's shield, and have no respect for trees apparently, as they're just tossing that. They're tossing that sucker, and Sam's not bad at it
Fuck
either.
the environment.
Do you think it was better that Sam took it instead of Winter Soldier?
Well, I mean,
So
like I said,
far,
I think they're gonna end up sharing it, but like I think what might happen, because when I look back at it, he did give it to Sam.
right?
Um, but I have a feeling like there probably will be a storyline potentially where Falcon is just not holding it up to the acclaim that it should. And I think Bucky might be resentful of that. He's like, he chose him and he's fucking shit at it. Or he's not like as good as Captain America. Therefore, I might be back and forth. And I think in the end, the character wise, Sam is going to be a lot more similar to Captain America. And Bucky's only similar to Captain America in that one movie, Winter Soldier, when he kind of flies off the rails.
See, I think that it's going to be. I think, and I'm not totally disagreeing with you, but I think it's going to be more a matter of, we saw Sam being more laid back and laxed and not really strict and rigid, making jokes and doing all these things. What's the plan? He just I think he's going to be more loosey goosey, and I think that that's going to piss him off. I think that, like, Cap was very Cap.
Yeah, I mean, even in the trailer, I mean, like, okay, let's be real. They're all kind of every MCU fucking character ends up making jabs at each other.
Right?
They all
Yeah.
have fucking fun, and in the end, yeah, Captain America is supposed to be the straight and narrow.
Right.
But even he sometimes, like, it's MCU. Everybody's got to be a Joker.
Right.
When it comes down to it, though, I do see, like, even from the trailer alone with Sam, he is like the primary Joker of the two.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. It's just like, and even in like every situation in the trailer, he's like, "I'm gonna fly under this fucking truck. Let me hit you with a pun first."
Right. No, but that's my point. Is I think that, like, I think Bucky is so closer to Cap in that, like, they see, because they've been through war. I mean, not that Sam hasn't, but they have more of a bond through the war and everything, and they're a lot closer in terms of how they act than I think, and especially that last scene in Endgame really revealed that to me when I was like watching how they like interacted with each other, and like, I don't know, it was just very interesting to see that. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to see Sam trying to take up the mantle in his own way, and Bucky's like, that's not how Cap would do it. That's not how Cap would do it. Cap would do it. And I think that's where the big conflict is going to be.
Forth will be between because it's obviously going to be a la fucking Lethal Weapon. It's going to be very similar with them. Two different styles, butting heads constantly, but I think in the end, I think you're on to what's correct.
And
what they're gonna do.
And the government's like, Captain doesn't get to choose who gets to captain. We get to decide who's captain. And so there's heavy speculation. In fact, actually, it's confirmed that it's going to be John Walker who's the fake captain that we saw in the trailer, who's coming out in the middle of the football field because Captain's got nothing else better to do. And
if you recall the Captain America movies, and I know they're your favorites, or like he's your favorite superhero at least. If you recall, they even had him. Yeah, they made him into super soldier, but then they had him be like fucking the face of the army. Instead of actually doing any fighting, he was walking around and getting space on billboards and shit. And I think they're gonna modernize that with what they're doing with him. He might be gone, but hey, they're still gonna do what the government would actually do and try to make a buck on him, or make a buck out of him, even though he's dead.
But it does actually, and that's the other thing I was very curious about. Was you're absolutely right, and someone made a comment like, man, they had someone who's like a theater actor as Captain America wearing a shield that's made up of like Kevlar and like like not the circle shield, but like the one he had before. What kind of person puts like this type of metal shield in like a theater group? World War II. Oh, it's like, yeah, that's a good point. But it is interesting because we don't know what Captain's like status symbol is in terms of like the public eye. Because remember, and this is something I wanted to bring up. I was curious to pick your brain about this. So the last Captain movie was Civil War, and on his own, and he was considered like a war criminal And so we didn't
Yeah.
see him until Infinity War, and then Infinity War happened, shit hit the fan, and we don't really know like what happened in those 5 years. And I mean, obviously Steve like kind of like is doing his own thing, but like, was he Captain America that whole time? He didn't have the shield. Was he like? Did he redeem himself? Did I'm curious. Like, is it like a marketing tool to kind of like we need to clean up Captain America and make him like the public? Like that's really interesting to me. It's like, huh? They like forgive him and just like, oh, this down. Fuck Steve Rogers. It's gonna be John Walker now, who has been picked by the government before. Might not be the greatest of choices if you guys know your comic lore. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
I guess the problem lies in exactly this is basically going to fill us in, and a part of the show is probably going to be what the public thought of him. Because after it's all said and done, after Endgame, you don't really get that side of things as much. I mean, it's been a while since I saw it, but it just basically comes to an end. Did they even cover off like? Did they ever show the public opinion of the Avengers
So
at the very end of Endgame? All I remember is the funeral, and then he shows up and he's like, "I'm all old and shit. Here, fucking take my shield. I'm gonna die."
Well, so I was trying to get as much information about like this as I could before we did this, and so obviously Captain didn't have a shield because Tony gave it back to him in Endgame, so he didn't have it for that 5 year gap, right? Um, and in Spider-Man: Homecoming, he was like they showed the thing of him like being like sitting down like, so you decided to do what whatever it was, and like the cheesy like educational video, but they like I think he's a war criminal now or something like that, like so obviously they dismissed him, but then in Far From Home, in Spider-Man Far From Home, they tributed him as being a loss, like someone who died, like Tony Stark, Black Widow, and then he was also listed as like someone like those we lost from the blip or whatever it is. So I don't know what his status is, but I mean the Avengers were pretty much gone for 5 years, which I get because everybody was kind of doing their own thing. But specifically, I want to know what Cap's status was and what his view in the public eye was. Was he still a war criminal? Like maybe that's why Falcon and Winter Soldier, or rather Falcon, doesn't take up the Captain America mantle publicly or doesn't need to yet. That part always just kind of like, wonder if it's a brilliant marketing strategy.
There's going to be a lot that they're going to need to fill in, and that like I mean some of this like I love the idea of the season being short because I don't want it to be bloated with unnecessary shit. But
and there's only so many of these things you can do with me.
It also might be difficult to fit in everything they probably need to fit in 6 episode time frame. I'm glad they're an hour long. I mean, they say an hour, but I don't know. Like when it comes down to it, it seems like Disney, at least with Star Wars stuff, it was just like it might be an hour, it might be 35 minutes. I don't know, whatever it is, you'll get it, and I don't mind that either.
Right.
I don't mind like certain things being longer depending on if the storyline they're telling in that one, in that specific episode needs it. At the end of the day, I mean, it's gonna be very intriguing to see what they do. What I'm most intrigued about is how they basically like I've hinted at before, how they plant the seeds for future products. Well, might as well be fucking products, but you know what I mean. Like,
yep.
Like everything that they've bought and everything that they need to do, it's gonna be interesting to see how they do that. I hope it's very subtle. I don't want them to sacrifice the show for that kind of stupid shit. But
Especially if it's so short.
yeah, but I mean, I don't know. As far as it goes for Captain America and what happened to him, I hope in the first episode we get some information concerning it because it's going to be necessary for me to understand that from the get go from my enjoyment of the rest of the show. If they don't mention it at all and it's all of a sudden it's like, yeah, he's just corporate Captain America, it's like, what?
Well, they could. Do you think like not like abusing it, but like a series of flashbacks, like maybe one per episode, that kind of sets things up?
They pieces it together over time.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice. Because I mean, you're right. There's going to be a decent amount of exposition they're going to have to like really shove in a short amount of time because there's already so many short episodes as it is. But it's funny you say that. Like terms of like you said, setting things up. They did confirm. I'm not sure if you read this, that Don Cheadle will make an appearance in this show in this season to set up. Armor Wars, which there's another series they announced for the future. The only thing they said is that it's going to be led by Rhodey, aka War Machine, and the concept of the show is it's when Tony Stark's worst nightmare come to life, his technology falling into the wrong hands. But they did confirm that Don Cheadle will make an appearance in this show in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, it's nice to see him. If anything, I think he'll be the one that kind of, if they're going to go back and show stuff or at least explain stuff about the past, it's going to be him. And it's probably going to be Sharon Carter.
That's right. I completely blanked over Sharon Carter. Yeah.
Because she was there, and she'll have she had intimate working knowledge with Cap. So I mean, I feel like she's going to be fleshed out, but she's also going to be there as a point to flesh out the past.
Especially with all like the shield stuff still crumbling, and that's the other part too, is what when's this taking place, and for references, WandaVision takes place 3 weeks after Endgame, not that long after the events of Endgame. But Spider-Man Far From Home takes place, I think, like a few months after. So like, does it fit like right after that? Like, that's the other part, is like, God, I'm gonna turn in that guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the freaking billboards and the string and the conspiracy theory going around. Like, okay, this is what happens at this time frame, but timing is also a big one. Like, because in WandaVision we established that sword is a thing, and so does that fit? How does that fit in with this and that, and like, the blip, and it's you're right. There's gonna be a lot of explanation, and a lot of exposition.
I don't know how much of a connection this is. Like, I don't know how much of a connection this is gonna have to WandaVision, considering like when they were the planning stage, and even I think during production, this was supposed to come out first,
right?
So they may have some connections. I think it's gonna be very like anything that they connect, and I think the MCU does it pretty well. It's gonna be relatively subtle. It'll be there like Easter egg left and right, but it won't be like a direct in your face connection until they do like a team up movie or something like
right.
that.
And so that was the other thing I was going to mention too, was I was saying earlier, like, WandaVision is kind of going in the direction of the Mystic. I think we have other things that are, we have like but there's other things, like, I know the Black Widow movie takes place before, but like the events of the Black Widow movie, I'm sure, are going to tie into maybe something of this in the future, or like, along these lines. But I feel like what Marvel's doing now is they're establishing different corners of the universe. Okay, you've got like Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy over here. You've got the Mystic stuff over here. You've got the Earthbound stuff here. So they're fleshing out different corners of different things, because there isn't going to be an Avengers movie for a long time. And so, again, you have to reestablish these things, and then they're going to do another Avenger-like event and bring them all back together and just rake in. We're not going to have, like, they're going to suck the money out of our pockets with a vacuum cleaner at that point.
How if I don't recall exactly the time frame, how long was it since like Iron Man, the first Iron Man, till the first Avenger?
So Iron Man 1 was 2008, and then the first Avengers, I believe, was 2012.
Avengers. Let's see.
Yes, 2012. So it was a four-year endeavor. But the thing was, they established they were doing that from the get-go.
I think you won't see another Avengers movie probably for another 4 years either. Like, they don't have anything in place for it to exist at this point, and they also have a bunch of characters they need to bring in to get us interested. I don't know what's happening with Thor. A lot of things right now. We don't know what the fuck's happening with most people. So we got to kind of see where all those chips fall. I think that's going to be this year and next year. Now, I mean, you look at MCU's the lineup, and it's like every couple months or a month, it's like, here's a new show, here's a new movie. So they're building pretty quickly. I don't think they're going to let people's attention fall away from that. But well, I think Avengers, I'm going to say probably 3 or 4 years until you get back to that. There's a bunch of other properties that need individual or individual TV shows or something like that.
I agree. And plus, they're also going to gauge, I think, even though they've announced all these Disney Plus shows, there are some that are going to do great. And I think there are some that are going to, I don't think there's going to be any failures, but I think there are going to be some that don't live up to the successes of the others. It's just the way it is,
If you remember the Netflix series of Marvel,
yep,
that was going on, there was a couple that were really good, and then there was a couple that were not great, and then there was one that was really bad. But like, I think you're going to get that for the most part. I think as long as the characters are there, and I mean, I wanted to mention this too for Falcon. There's going to be certain things that the success of this show really hinges on, and it's 100% the two leads.
Agreed.
If
Yep. Yep.
if the dynamic between the two doesn't work, the show will not work. It looks okay in the trailer so far, but I mean, the characters, the actor playing Sam, I've seen him in some things before, and I know like he's been bit part. He's okay, but like I don't know, man. As a leading man, he can be kind of not great.
Well,
So I mean, I have high hopes because he's played the character long enough,
yeah.
and it's different from the other character I've seen him play. So I don't know.
So, I mean, with that being said, I think we pretty much hit everything as far as like speculation, what we've seen from trailers, what we've seen. There was, um, talking about like cameo appearances, possibly the villains, everything like that. What would you? Oh, I gotta at least mention this: the funny, the little staring contest of the latest trailer.
Yeah.
I did love the one thing I just wanted to make a note of was, when she's like, "Geez, how old are you?" Bucky's technically 104 if you want to do the math out right, because he was frozen and then coming back. Just thought I'd mention that because it was funny how she's like, "How old are you?" Well, technically over 100 years old if you want to get into it, but
I also kind of hate the way they're sitting in them. They have their legs wrapped around each other. If you paid attention to it,
yeah, that's just
weird.
listen, I don't
It's a
judge,
trust
but anyway,
exercise.
what would you say you are looking forward to the most out of the whole series? Whether it
Uh,
be what anything.
like I said before, them planting seeds for the future of what the MCU is going to bring, movie wise and television wise, is probably going to be the thing I look for the most. Closure on what exactly happened after Endgame because
Mm,
everything's in the air, and I think this is one of those properties that can do it. I'm also looking for probably what we're gonna get the closest representation of what we saw from Winter Soldier and Civil War in a 6 episode series. This is gonna be the closest thing in my mind that they're gonna do that would be similar to what they put on the like big screen.
yeah, I think that I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I think for me, figuring out and what they want to do from a realistic like ground level as far as not only these characters but kind of like you're spreading out the seeds for everything else as far as the MCU, yeah, basically. um the villains too, like I said, there's a lot of Captain
So,
America villains. There's a lot of Captain America villains that have not even been touched, and I was thinking about that. I'm like, Iron Man's got a good amount, Spider-Man don't have enough time. Um, but like every Marvel character or major hero has a pretty wide plethora, with some exceptions, of villains, and we've barely scratched the surface with captains, which could, in a lot of ways, morph into the series in other various shapes or forms, like I just mentioned. I wouldn't mind seeing Hydra coming back in some fashion. Maybe not the exact same way, but
I think to see them do set up a villain or at least like an organization of villains
right.
that can kind of lead into something that just be better at creating villains and create like if you do like a faction of villains, this is what the show is for. Build them, build their interest, almost build their interest as much as you build the hero's interest, so that when they do hit the big screen in an Avengers like event, um it'll be that much we'll be that much more invested because they really dropped the ball in the past with pretty much all the villains they did.
Give me Modoc.
um yeah. Yeah, I mean
Giant floating head.
even the best one being Thanos, but even in the second movie they kind of I
Yeah.
understand why, but like it sucks because he was the most fleshed out of the bunch.
No, I agree.
But they do have the time, they have the properties to do it. That is, sorry, that was the one thing I should have added when you said what are you looking forward to most. That because that's something desperate that MCU desperately needs. The villains should be almost as entertaining, if not more entertaining, than the heroes.
No, I agree. I mean, that's why I'm so pumped they're bringing the Mandarin and they're retconning that so badly in the Shang-Chi movie coming up in the summer. But yeah, I think we did a good job. I think we flushed out everything we needed to say. I'm looking forward to Falcon and Winter Soldier. And if you guys like these and you want to see us do a full review of each episode with myself and this sexy bear over here, let us know in the comment section. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button so you guys like and let us know that you are liking what it is that we're doing here. And of course, comment down below what you think is going to happen, your speculations, what you think is going to go down. Will
Yeah,
Sam? Yeah, I know
I,
there's a lot of
a lot.
speculation. Yeah, there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of theories. how do you think it's going to tie in the MCU? All your thoughts on everything. Let us know in the comment section. Of course, the big one, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you're notified every time some horny goat goodness comes sliding into your hearts. That sounds dirtier than it wanted it to, but screw it. It's practically midnight here, and I don't care. Basement, any last minute words before we wrap up?
Just fuck me blind, baby.
I almost bought the shield. I almost bought the Cap shield. I was gonna actually have it here, but it would take up like the whole fucking camera, so it wouldn't have done any good. But maybe next time I'll wear the shield and nothing else.
I want to buy the mask.
The Baron Zemo. Oh, I thought it was a Baron Zemo mask.
The fucking blue, purple stocking.
Yeah, exactly. With a gold ring on it. Let me listen to my wife's voicemail again. I got dark. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys for future Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Bye-bye, honey buns.